Alabama definitely won't cover the spread against Louisville, no matter what you say there. And even though
the spread for you, what is it? Do you know what it is?
I saw it earlier.
At least 2 touchdowns.
3.5.
Three.
So the spread is
okay.
the spread is 3.5. So I don't think they'll win by 3.5 touchdowns. And also you got to look at what's his name? The running back for Alabama. I think he's going to be one of the key players. It might even be the game's MVP. Damian Harris, is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. But I don't think he's enough to carry the entire game to a victory. Now, there's the case of why it can happen. Do I think it will happen? No, I think Alabama will absolutely win. Alabama doesn't lose on the first and last games of the season. They just don't. So,
last year.
Well, this is true. Touche, sir. Touche. But at least they were. Go ahead. So anyway, we'll get back on track here.
Yeah, no worries. I was going to move the segment along here. Adam, I'm going to throw it over to you. There's a lot of trap games here in the first week already. What potential upset? What is the one burning upset do you see that could actually happen in week 1?
Oh goodness. Let me take a quick second to think about who's. I guess the question is how big of an upset? Because if Notre Dame is an underdog,
I've got two. I don't think the winner of Notre Dame Michigan to me. You could say Notre Dame or Michigan, whatever. I don't think the loser of that game or whatever. That's really an upset. Notre Dame's just a 1-point favorite right now. I don't really see that as an upset game. I'm talking about an unranked team versus a ranked team.
Let me see. Goodness gracious.
All right, Tom, I'll throw it over to you. Then we'll get back to Adam.
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah. What is the one big burning upset do you see that could actually happen this weekend?
Can I use this button?
Yeah, you use that button as much as you want. I love that, actually.
I think Auburn's going to beat Washington. That's going to be the biggest upset of the weekend.
I don't think that's much of an upset, but we'll call it upset. I was going to say San Diego State versus Stanford. We see San Diego State as running back. Yes, State, the Aztecs running back you anymore. We saw Darnell Pumphrey last year or 2 years ago break Ron Dayne's record. They come up with these running backs that just run for 1,500 to 2,000 yards a year, and I think that offense that San Diego State puts out on the field has what it takes to could potentially upset Stanford. So we'll go back to Adam. What do you think about San Diego State?
San Diego State.
It wasn't fair that It wasn't fair that the other two of us got breaking news alerted and Adam didn't. So go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
The other one that I can't help but wonder is even though I think he is the Heisman frontrunner, I wonder about Tennessee versus West Virginia. Big 12 has not played good defense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee, at some point, has to win a big game. They haven't won a big game since, T. Martin was in school? At some point, they got to put one of them together.
That's a good game to bring up for this. That's great. Jeremy Pruitt, former defensive coordinator at Alabama, knows how to play defense, could probably scheme against Will Grier in West Virginia. That was probably, I don't know what the spread is, but that game I bet is going to be really close, closer than the experts think. Tom, what do you think about that?
Well, this just in, Clay Travis says Tennessee will win.
He might be a bigger Tennessee home than Irish homer.
We know, Adam. I know how big of a Clay Travis fan you are. So.
yeah.
Well, let's. We want to make sure that we get to Adam in Ohio State. I know you're the boss there, Rick, but I'll let you lead the segment on that. But I wanted to make sure because we only got about 9 minutes left on the clock. So go ahead, sir.
Anytime, just one more game I was going to throw out there is the Lane Train FAU against Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's like a 3-touchdown favorite in this game, but Lane Kiffin knows how to play offense and run an offense, and I think that's going to be a lot closer than 3 touchdowns. So, Adam, I'll take your thoughts on that real quick, and then we can get into Urban Meyer.
I just wonder how much Kyler Murray is actually going to be interested in playing football because he just signed a $24 million deal with the Oakland Athletics. If he takes one shot to that arm, is he going to phone it in? I can't see any scenario where he is playing with his full heart into it because he's not playing to get to the NFL like all these other guys. He's playing because it'll keep him entertained for 6 months until he's out of Oklahoma and playing for Oakland.
All right, so 917-889-8506. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to ask a leading question to the witness. As far as Lane Kiffin, we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the show, even though I always screw up what school that he's in. He's at Florida Atlantic, but that's neither here nor there. I always think he's at Florida Gulf Coast for some reason. That's my own stupidity, but I always mix that up. But nonetheless, and we'll get into this conversation, this is where it's the leading question for the witness here. We could be looking at the last years for Urban Meyer. They could be separating ways very, very soon. And I think Ohio State Buckeyes will be one of the first teams to step up and say, Lane Kiffin, we're going to give you another shot as a head coach in a major school.
Is that for me or Adam?
That's for Adam.
Okay.
He's the leading witness.
Gotcha.
Are you asking, do I think that could happen?
I'm asking you, do you think that's a real possibility that can happen?
I mean, that's a possibility. Like, I suppose, the Browns could win the Super Bowl is a possibility.
Well, we'll go with that. Hey, Adam, we'll throw that in there. Let's just say the Browns do have a moderately winning season. They'll get rid of their coach because Urban Meyer says goodbye to Ohio State. It doesn't really matter. The Cleveland Browns are going to say, you are automatically hired here at the Browns as soon as you leave Ohio State. So, I think Urban Meyer goes to the Cleveland Browns. Breaking news. Go ahead. Sorry,
that's actually not out of the realm of possibility. Like, I actually feel that way. Like, I feel Urban Meyer is not going to be at Ohio State after this season, and he could get picked up by the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a real possibility.
Go ahead, Adam. The show's all yours, buddy. The floor's all yours.
No,
I surrender my time. I yield my time to the gentleman from Ohio.
In terms of Urban Meyer staying, I think that depends greatly on on two factors. One, the success of the team. Two, how long our president, Michael Drake, stays at the university. Literally, he is right now the most despised man in Ohio because despite a large mountain of evidence that suggested that Urban followed protocol and did what he was supposed to do, he caved to the media, which was calling for someone's head in a quote-unquote domestic violence case, which never actually resulted in an arrest. So,
wait, you're saying the evidence supports that Urban Meyer is telling the truth?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I don't see it suggest that he lied about 3 or 4 times and they actually could have fired him for a cause, and they put football over firing him is the reason why he's still the head coach. And I think he's lost the respect from the president, and that's why he will not be at Ohio State past this season.
And real quickly, because I do want Adam to do this, because Adam and I had a conversation offline, and Adam, we don't have to go into all the details, but I specifically talked with you offline on the phone, and you pointed out some scenarios here regarding Urban Meyer. So maybe share that conversation. That what I said is that because he's Urban Meyer and he's in Columbus, and that Smith worked for Urban Meyer, that's why there was no arrest. You told a story that you are very familiar with the Columbus Police Department. You told a story that this was a very dysfunctional relationship between two people in a very unhealthy relationship. Maybe you could shed some light on that to help us understand a little bit better of why maybe that what Rick is saying isn't necessarily copacetic. Not that I disagree with Rick, but it is another view of looking at things. Go ahead, Adam.
So
sorry, Rick.
The primary problem that keeps on getting brought up is that Urban lied at media days. So the original question posed to Urban Meyer by one Brett McMurphy, who is a hack of a journalist by any stretch of the imagination, was, can you state about the arrest in 2015 of Zach Smith? And Urban Meyer responded, there was never such arrest. That never happened, which is 100% true. Zach Smith was never arrested in the quote-unquote 2015 incident, in which the police report, which you can read and is available to the public, basically states that Zach Smith was in Columbus with his son on his day of custody, and Courtney Smith called Zach, said, if you don't bring him to me at our meeting location, I'm going to call the cops and say that you kidnapped him. In which case, Zach then took him, because he didn't want to have the cops called on him, to the previously agreed upon location where they always did exchanges. The exchange never happened because Courtney wasn't there. She then said, well, bring him straight to my place, even though she had placed a restraining order on her home. He took the kid there because she had demanded him, in which case she's standing on the front lawn with a video camera and a cell phone, taking pictures and calling 911. That's the 2015 incident that Brett McMurphy references, so allegedly.
So, Adam, do you think that Urban Meyer could ever do a post-game press conference ever again? Like a big win, post-game press conference like all coaches do, do you think he actually does it this year?
I think so. Here's what I'll say. If if other places have and other people have done things significantly more gregarious, because again, the media faces this as Urban Meyer covered up domestic violence, but he didn't.
But that's the reason why I think he can't do a post-game press conference. There would never be one football question directed at Urban Meyer in a post-game press conference this season. It's all going to be about this situation.
Right. I don't disagree. Now here's the thing. And to go back to the previous question, could I see Urban Meyer leaving? Yes. Would Lane Kiffin step in? No. If Urban Meyer leaves, the coach that will take over is the coach who is our serving coach on the sideline this Saturday.
That's probably right.
If Urban's gone,
I can't think of another coach. Ohio State will want an elite coach, but I can't think of any big names out there other than Lane Kiffin, which probably, he will probably want the job. But I don't think they would offer Lane Kiffin the job just yet. But I think you're right. No, is it Day? Is that his last name?
It would be Ryan Day. Who in a lot of areas is thought of as highly as Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma this time 2 years ago.
Tom, what are your thoughts about a minute left?
Well, I'd like to see. I guess maybe I know that I get accused of swinging on the manhood of Clay Travis, but Clay Travis is a big fan of Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin has been on his show multiple times, and I've heard Lane Kiffin tell his story multiple times, and I've heard the case brought forward that Lane Kiffin does deserve another shot at a major school, and I think Ohio State has that kind of relationship with Lane Kiffin that they would at least consider that opportunity.
So reach out to us on Twitter at BreakingRank1 on your thoughts. Lane Kiffin to Ohio State. Reach out to me at riggin_Rick on Twitter. Tom, where can they find you on social media?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
But no, at Thomas and then MARQ at T-Balance, and then just, pretty much anywhere you can find me.
Adam,
I'm
you
there.
got Twitter? Social media?
Look me up on Facebook if you want to. I stay off of the Twitter. I find it's a lot better for my sanity.